Imagine for a moment that you are standing in the middle of a crowd. Now expand that crowd until it fills your entire field of vision. Now expand it again, stretching it upwards, layer upon layer, mile upon mile into the choked atmosphere. In the universe of Warhammer 40,000, numbers cease to have human meaning. We speak of billions, of trillions, but the human mind cannot truly grasp such scales. To live in an Imperial Hive City is to confront a horrifying mathematical reality. You are not an individual. You are a rounding error in the logistics of survival. A single Hive City houses a population larger than the entirety of 21st century Earth. And on a Hive World, there are dozens of these continent-spanning spires. You are born into a space that was already overcrowded 10,000 years ago. From the moment you draw your first breath, you are assaulted by the noise. It is a constant, thrumming vibration that shakes the metal floor beneath your feet. The heartbeat of generators, the scream of ventilation fans, and the collective murmur of billions of souls who will never see the sun. Silence is a luxury that only the dead can afford. For the living, space is the ultimate currency. You do not own a home. You occupy a designated habitation unit, a hab block, likely no larger than a coffin, shared with your extended family. You sleep in shifts. When you wake to start your work cycle, your brother or sister takes your warm spot on the mat. There is no privacy. There is no solitude. There is only the crushing weight of humanity pressing in on you from all sides, reminding you every second that you are replaceable. But the true horror isn't just the overcrowding. It is the realization of your purpose. The hive does not exist for its people. The people exist for the hive. You are biological machinery, bred to maintain the infrastructure, to manufacture the weapons, to tithe your labor to a god emperor who sits on a throne light years away. If you die of exhaustion, or disease, or violence, the machinery does not stop. It does not even stutter. The Departamento Munitorum simply adjusts a figure in a ledger, and another soul steps into your place on the assembly line. This is the mathematics of insignificance. To understand your life in the hive, you must understand its geography. A hive city is not built outward, it is built upward. It is a mountain of steel, plascrete, and misery that pierces the atmosphere. Your social standing is dictated entirely by altitude. It is a literal hierarchy of suffering. If you are fortunate, unimaginably fortunate, you might be born in the spire, the upper reaches that pierce the cloud cover. There, the nobility breathe air scrubbed clean of toxins and bask in the genuine light of the local star. But you are not a noble. You are a common citizen, a worker bee in the middle hives. Above you are miles of crushing weight. Below you are the abyssal depths of the underhive. Your world is a labyrinth of rusted corridors, transit tubes, and industrial sectors. You do not see the sky. In fact, the concept of sky is almost mythological to you. The ceiling of your world is the floor of the district above, dripping with the condensation and waste of those superior to you. The architecture itself is hostile. The hive is ancient, a patchwork of construction that has been repaired, built over, and reinforced for millennia. Statues of Imperial saints, hundreds of meters tall, loom over the plazas, their faces eroded by acid rain and time, staring down in silent judgment. The Gothic arches are not just aesthetic, they are reinforced cages designed to keep the crushing weight of the city from collapsing in on itself. Every rivet, Every beam, every bulkhead screams of a desperate struggle against gravity and entropy. And then there is the direction you must never go. Down. Below the hab levels lies the underhive, the foundations of the city, where the law of the Imperium begins to fracture. It is a place of collapsed domes, toxic sumps, and forgotten technology. The deeper you go, the cheaper life becomes. In the mid-hive, you are a cog. In the underhive, you are prey. The architecture reflects this descent. Lights flicker and fail. Air purifiers clog, and the very walls seem to sweat with the accumulated grime of 10,000 years. Take a deep breath. In our world, this is a reflex, something we do without thought. In a Hive City, every breath is a reminder of your entrapment. The air you breathe has been breathed before, millions of times. It is recycled through massive atmospheric scrubbers, arcane machines from the dark age of technology that the tech priests maintain with religious fervor but barely understand. They scrub out the carbon dioxide, but they cannot scrub out the taste. The air in a hive tastes of metal, ozone, recycled sweat, and the chemical tang of promethium. It is thick and humid, heavy with the heat generated by billions of bodies and endless machinery. There is no fresh breeze. A wind in a hive city is usually a sign of a ventilation failure or a hull breach, bringing with it the freezing, toxic atmosphere of the wasteland outside. Respiratory diseases are not a possibility, they are a certainty. The hacking cough of hive lung is the background music of your district. And then there's the water. On a hive world, water is closed loop. There are no oceans, no rivers, no rain that is safe to drink. Every drop of moisture is reclaimed. The water purification plants work tirelessly to reclaim fluids from industrial runoff, from the humidity in the air, and yes, from the sewage of the population. The guilders who control the water supply call it reconstituted. You know it for what it is. Consider the psychological toll of this. You are drinking the sweat and waste of your ancestors, processed and chemically treated until it is technically safe, though it always retains a faint metallic aftertaste. Water is rationed strictly. To waste water is a crime. To spill it is a sin. In some rigorous hive cultures, crying is seen as a waste of vital moisture. You exist in a state of perpetual low-level dehydration, your body hoarding every drop, just as the city hoards its resources. If the air and water are recycled, then what of the food? How do you feed a population of 100 billion souls on a planet where the soil is toxic ash? You cannot grow crops. You cannot graze livestock. The answer is the most infamous yet most pragmatic solution in the Imperium: corpse-starch. It is a misconception among the uninitiated that corpse-starch is a secret, a scandalous truth hidden from the populace like an ancient Terran fables. No. In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, there is no room for such delicacy. You know what you are eating. It is part of the Imperial creed. To serve the Emperor in life is your duty. To serve him in death is your final offering. When a citizen dies, their body is not buried. Space is too valuable for graveyards. Their body is not burned. Fuel is too precious for cremation. The body is given to the corpse guilds. It is rendered down, the proteins extracted, the nutrients reclaimed, and mixed with fungal supplements grown in the dark vats of the agridomes. The result is corpse-starch, a flavorless, gritty, gray slab that provides the exact caloric intake required to keep you working for another shift. It is sustenance without joy. It is fuel, nothing more. But here lies the true tragedy. In the endless monotony of gray rations, the Imperium offers a cruel mercy: feast days. Once a year, perhaps on Sanguinala or the Emperor's Ascension, the rations are different. You might receive a packet of legitimate agri-world grain or synthetic meat that has been flavored to resemble something real. The entire Hab block celebrates. There is color, there is taste, there is a fleeting memory of what it means to be human. And this is the cruelest torture of all. Because for that 1 hour, you remember that life could be different. You taste the potential of a universe that isn't made of ash and recycled dead. And then the meal is over. The flavor fades, and you are left with the gray slab of corpse-starch for another 364 days. The feast doesn't give you hope. It deepens your despair by showing you exactly what you are missing. You wake up, you eat your corpse-starch, you go to work. This is the trinity of your existence. In the Hive, there is no concept of a career, no ladder of ambition to climb. You do not work to improve your life. You work to justify your right to breathe the Emperor's air for another day. The standard work shift in an Imperial manufactorum is not 8 hours, or 10, or 12. It is 16 hours, minimum, 7 days a week, for your entire adult life. Walk with me into the manufactorum. The first thing that hits you is the heat, a suffocating dry heat that saps the moisture from your eyes. Then, the noise. It is deafening, a cacophony of stamping presses, grinding gears, and the screaming of metal on metal. You take your station on the assembly line. Perhaps your task is to weld a single joint on a lasgun casing. You will perform this motion 10,000 times before the shift whistle blows. The danger here is not potential, it is statistical. Safety regulations are non-existent. Safety rails are considered a waste of high-grade metal. If you slip, if your concentration wavers after 14 hours of repetitive motion, the machine will not stop. It will crush your hand, or your arm, or your body. And here is the grim truth. The machine is worth more than you are. A damaged stamping press requires a tech priest to sanctify and repair it, costing the manufactorum valuable time. You can be dragged away, thrown into a medical incinerator or a protein reclamation vat, and replaced by the person standing behind you in line within minutes. And if you survive the accident but are left crippled, that is often a fate worse than death. If you cannot work, you lose your ration card. If you lose your ration card, you starve. Or worse, if you still possess biological viability, you might be volunteered for servitor conversion. To have your mind wiped, your limbs amputated and replaced with industrial tools, becoming a mindless drone enslaved to the task that claimed your flesh. This fear, the fear of failing the quota, is the whip that drives the Hive City. It is a terror more potent than any alien invasion. But what happens when you step outside the rigid order of the manufactorum? You enter a world where the only law is violence. The Hive City is stratified not just by height, but by order. In the upper spires, there is law. In the mid-hives, there is regulation. But down in the lower levels and the underhive, there is only the rule of the strong. The Imperial Adeptus Arbites, the judges and enforcers of the Emperor's law, do not police the Hive in the way we understand police. They do not investigate petty theft or murder. They do not care if your neighbor steals your rations. They exist solely to ensure the tithe is paid and to suppress rebellion. They are faceless, armored giants who strike with overwhelming, lethal force at the slightest sign of sedition. If a district riots, the Arbites do not arrest the ringleaders. They seal the bulkheads and vent the atmosphere, executing the entire population to restore order. For daily protection, you turn to the gangs. In the absence of state protection, tribalism takes over. House Escher, House Goliath, House Orlok, these are not just criminal organizations, they are the de facto government of the lower levels. You pay them protection tithes from your meager earnings. In exchange, they might stop another gang from burning down your hab block. Violence is a language everyone speaks fluently here. You learn to walk with your head down, eyes averting contact. You learn the sound of a las pistol charging, the distinctive hum of a chainsword revving. Life is cheap. A man might be killed for his boots, which are worth more on the black market than his life is to the administratum. It is a Hobbesian nightmare, a war of all against all, played out in the dark, rusted corridors of a city that has forgotten the sun. So we arrive at the paradox. You are overworked, starved, poisoned, and constantly threatened by violence. Why do you not rebel? Why do billions of citizens not rise up and tear the spires down? The answer lies in the most powerful weapon the Imperium possesses: faith. From the moment you are born, you are indoctrinated by the Ministerum. The Ecclesiarchy teaches you a simple, undeniable truth. Humanity is under siege. Aliens, mutants, and heretics want to devour your soul and destroy your species. The only thing standing between you and extinction is the God Emperor, and the God Emperor requires your sacrifice. Your suffering is not a bug in the system, it is a feature. You are taught that your pain is a form of prayer. When your back breaks under the load of ammunition crates, you are helping to kill the enemies of mankind. When you starve so that rations can be sent to the front lines, you are a soldier in the logistical war. This narrative transforms your misery into martyrdom. It gives your wretched existence a cosmic purpose. This is the psychological glue of the Hive City. It is a collective Stockholm syndrome on a galactic scale. You do not hate your oppressors in the Spire. You envy them, yes, but you also revere them as closer to the Emperor. To rebel against the governor is to rebel against the Emperor, and to rebel against the Emperor is to damn your soul to the warp. And in the 40K universe, that damnation is a literal, tangible threat. So you keep your head down. You work your 16 hours, you eat your corpse-starch, and you whisper a prayer of thanks for the privilege of suffering for the master of mankind. Step back now. Pull your mind away from the sweating walls of the hab block, away from the deafening roar of the manufactorum, away from the taste of recycled water. Look at the Hive City from orbit. It is a blackened scab on the surface of the planet, spewing smoke into the atmosphere, glowing with the fires of industry. It is ugly, it is monstrous, and yet it is the most perfect representation of the Imperium of man itself. The Hive City is not a malfunction of society. It is the design of survival at any cost. It demonstrates the fundamental truth of the 41st millennium. The individual is nothing. The species is everything. Every horror we have discussed, the corpse-starch, the 16-hour shifts, the brutal policing, the toxic air, serves a single cold logic: efficiency. To defend the galaxy-spanning empire against orcs, tyranids, and chaos, the Imperium requires a volume of material that defies comprehension. The Hive is a machine that turns human suffering into tank treads. It turns human lives into lasgun power packs. It turns human souls into the tithes required to keep the Astronomicon burning. If the Hive cities were to stop, even for a day, the Imperial Guard would run out of ammunition, the Navy would run out of fuel, and humanity would be extinguished within a year. This is the grim bargain. You, the citizen, agree to live a life of suffocating misery, to be ground down into dust, so that somewhere, light years away, a space marine has the bolt shell he needs to kill a Xenos horror. You are the ultimate cog. You do not get to see the victory. You do not get to know if your sacrifice mattered. You simply turn and turn and turn until you break. And when you break, you are melted down to feed the next cog. It is a system of absolute cruelty, maintained not by malice, but by the terrifying necessity of survival. So, what is the reality of life in an Imperial Hive City? It is a suffocation of the soul. It is a life lived entirely in the shadows, both literal and metaphorical. It is an existence where hope is considered a dangerous distraction and happiness is a suspicious anomaly. To live here is to be trapped in a concrete womb that eventually becomes your tomb. You are born, you work, and you are recycled. There is no legacy. There is no monument to your name. The only record of your existence is a serial number in a databank that will likely be lost due to data rot within a century. But perhaps, in the darkest irony of all, this is humanity's greatest strength. The ability to endure the unendurable. The ability to wake up every single day, choke down the foul air, eat the gray paste, and stand at the machine for another 16 hours, driven by a faith in a God who demands everything and gives nothing back but silence. The Hive City proves that humanity will survive the darkness of the far future. But it also begs the silent question, in a galaxy where mere survival costs your humanity, is it truly worth living? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the nightmare of the Imperium, subscribe and toll the bell. The Inquisition watches those who seek the truth, but we will uncover it together. Until next time, remember, the Emperor protects, but the Hive devours.